guys? I'm Jason, aka Captain Nasty. Welcome back to another Supplement Sunday, coming at you here from the Anchored in Muscle podcast studio here in our shop. We're gonna get going with this, guys. This was, of course, by special request for me to start talking more about supplements, doing more detailed videos, more detailed posts about supplementation. And guys, we're gonna get into it here. Supplement Sunday. Now, guys, I always talk about what is the most important supplements. At the end of the day, what is the most important for your overall health and your results? Now, we've already done 2 weeks ago, we did the multivitamins. I did kind of skip over fish oils, but I'm going to get to it. And then I got away from the hierarchy of needs because of some questions I had in between. And we talked about GDA and how that could be helpful. But in this week's Supplement Sunday, I'm getting back to the number 2 thing. What is next in line in overall importance and benefit to you, not only from a health perspective, a wellness perspective, muscle building and fat loss, is, what are you doing post-workout? You go in there, you do your HIIT training, which is really intense. You do your weight training. We go over that all the time. Your weight training really does need to be intense. And what are you doing post-workout? Now, most people, in the fitness realm, kind of already have heard something, or maybe they know a little bit about, well, you got to get in protein in that, so-called anabolic window. Most people know about that, but I'm here to tell you guys, you not only need protein, but you also need carbohydrates, post-workout. But I'm going to here, guys, when you go and you have your HIIT training and your weight training, not only are you doing this giving it micro trauma tears, but you're also burning up the glucose that's been stored inside your muscle. So there's a lot of things going on here that's going to go into proper post-workout nutrition. So you've gone in, you've done your HIIT training, you've done your heavy lifting, your weight training, you've created the micro trauma tearing that your body needs to repair. It needs protein for that muscle repair, but you've also burned energy. You've also burned off the stored energy inside the muscle. The carbohydrates that you've eaten have been turned into glucose, then they're stored inside the muscle as glycogen, and now you have just burnt through a lot of that glycogen during your workout. We went over this in our last video talking about GDA. You eat a whole food carbohydrate source, it's digested, it sparks insulin. Insulin comes to carry that excess sugar out of the blood. It will seek to store it in liver and then in muscle tissue. So this is part of the recovery process, guys. Keep in mind, you have to fill up that fuel tank. You have to fill that glycogen stores back up. And the reason why I'm going into all these different broader full picture things is because there are several things happening here, and I'm trying to give you all the details. So your central nervous system has to send that signal for muscle contraction. You then have to have the energy stored on site, which is the muscle glycogen, which will generate ATP and burn through that during your workout. So you have to recover this energy before you will begin muscle tissue repair. And this is what I'm getting to, guys. So your body works in order of survival. Okay. It's not necessarily the most important thing to start muscle repair right away. The most important thing to your body is to recover that energy source before muscle repair. So if you leave off carbs, if you leave off a good energy source in your post-workout setting, what will happen in a lot of cases, say you do use an expensive protein supplement post-workout, you take in 40 grams of protein, your body can and will take a portion of that protein and break it down into glucose to recover its energy stores before it uses any of it for muscle repair. So you can see if your proper portion of protein would be, in this example, 40 grams of protein, your body, if you don't give it carbs, you don't restore the energy, your body can steal some of that expensive protein, convert it into glucose, and then you're left short. Say, hypothetically, your proper portion is 40 grams and your body robs 10 to 15 grams of that, you're left short of the needed protein for proper muscle repair. Your body's going to do that no matter what you do. it has to recover its energy source. I tell people a lot of times, if you're walking out of the gym, or you get home and you get out and something happens, a car runs out in front of you, or, goddamn saber-toothed tiger comes out and you need to jump out of the way. You need to fight something off. You have to have that energy. So your body has to recover its energy source first. So what we're going to get into here, guys, not only do you need that carbohydrate source, but you also need a clean source of protein. So your body's going to take up that glucose, is going to take the protein in, and I'm showing you a description here. If you want muscle repair, you want muscle growth, you have to have the proper amino acid profiles. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein, and protein is the building blocks of muscle. You're going to need an adequate source of protein to generate muscle protein synthesis, which is a building up process, the repair recovery process for muscle. So guys, the only time that a supplement is going to be better than whole food would be in a post-workout setting. Now, the only reason for that is that just, by the sheer nature of digestion, eating a chicken breast could take anywhere, 3 to 4 hours to fully digest and liberate the protein, the nutrients, to take up into your bloodstream, as opposed to a powdered form of protein in a supplement. Now we'll go in here and try to see if we can see this here. Here's you just a little chart of a roundabout. I'm not saying that whole food can't do the job. I'm just saying that in most cases, the supplement is going to be better than whole food, but only because of how fast it can be digested and taken up into the bloodstream and sent off for muscle repair. So here's you a good little rundown, just a general idea for you guys. Egg yolks, 30 minutes digestion time. Whole eggs, 45 minutes. Low-fat fish, cod, flounder, which not a lot of people are going to be eating that post-workout, but 30 minutes. So then we get down in here to what's typically eaten when it comes to whole foods in a post-workout setting. Your chicken, boneless, skinless chicken breasts, anywhere from 1 to 2 hours for digestion. Turkey, 2 to 2.25 hours. Beef, 3 to 4 hours, or pork, 4 to 5 hours for full digestion, where it makes that protein, liberates that protein where your body can actually use it. So in this setting, guys, we're talking about Supplement Sunday, in the post-workout setting, when it comes to muscle recovery, muscle building, this is where a post-workout supplement, a post-workout protein shake and carbohydrate source is going to be better than, but only because of how fast it can be digested. So here we're getting back to talking about glucose and your carbohydrate source, because again, we're talking about whole food would be better, but the only reason why a supplement's going to be better in this situation is just sheerly for the digestion rate. Now, what is that process? We went and talked about that process last week. You eat a whole food carbohydrate source. Once it starts to become taken up into the bloodstream, you get an elevated blood sugar spike, an elevated level of blood sugar, which signals insulin to come and carry that excess sugar out of your bloodstream and off to the liver, to muscle tissue. And then if there's any excess, it'll be carried to fat. But what can happen is it will also carry any protein. So what you want in a post-workout supplement is you want the fastest possible digesting protein source. And you also want to spike. This is one situation where you want to spike blood sugar, because you want to cause a situation. Again, insulin is a storage hormone. So you want to create a situation where you have an elevated blood sugar, and then you will have, in response to that, an elevated level of insulin. Insulin will come running, and it will literally hook up with the glucose and also the protein and carry that, shuttle it off to the muscle cells. So you see here in red where you've had a simple carb, which would be a representation of a carbohydrate source in a supplement form. Like a lot of people suggest pixie sticks. I wouldn't suggest that to somebody who's overweight, or gummy bears. I mean, can it work in a pinch? Sure, it can work in a pinch, or just plain sugar, or the sugars you get from, say, a Gatorade or something like that. This is what this red line is depicting, as whereas if you had a whole food source, like a brown rice or a sweet potato or something like that, would be more represented by this line in green here. It would be a lot less of a blood sugar response and a lot lower of an insulin response. So let's go here to protein. What type of protein should you have when it comes to supplementation, not whole food, but supplementation. And we see here whey protein isolate in red. You get it's the most pure form, and the absolute most pure form, which is not shown here, which would be a hydrolyzed whey isolate protein. This is the protein that is broken down literally into the smallest fractions possible, which still leave it to be bioavailable. You will see here by the chart down here in 60 minutes. 30 minutes is when it hits its peak of digestion, and then it falls off into 60 minutes is fully digested. As opposed to whey protein concentrate, which is not pure. It's not been filtered down as much, still has some carbohydrates in it, some fats in it. It's a little bit slower response here. This would be something that you would get in a meal replacement. Most meal replacements, or a really good meal replacement, would be a combination of all three. When they say it's a blended protein, that means it has a portion of all of these proteins here, and even egg, like level 1 does. And then on in here to casein protein, which is the slowest form of protein digestion in a supplement form. So, okay, guys, now to wrap all this up, now we've went over how the fact that you really are burning off energy out of the muscle tissue, which your body will seek to restore first before muscle repair. So if you just go out here and you only have a protein shake, your body will rob some of that protein source to fill your energy stores before it begins muscle repair. So, in a post-workout setting, guys, you really want to have the fastest digesting protein source possible, and also the fastest digesting carb source possible. One, so that you can create a situation where you spike the blood sugar and insulin, which will cause a situation where your body will take the insulin will take the glucose and the protein, shuttle it into the muscle cells immediately at the same time, then that speeds up this recovery and muscle repair process. So you guys know that my protein, my supplement of choice is First Phorm. We got Ignition here, which is, without going into these big technical scientific terms, it is dexanhydrous glucose, which is pretty much dried glucose. It is the fastest possible energy source for your muscles, coupled with a hydrolyzed whey isolate protein, 100% hydrolyzed whey isolate protein. You couple these two together, it is the perfect post-workout nutrition. Now, guys, I know you're going to ask, why two different products? Really, these two go together in the same shaker bottle, but keep this in mind. Diabetics, type 2 diabetics should not use Ignition. Okay, so two reasons for this. One, a type 2 diabetic can use a 100% hydrolyzed whey isolate protein, but they can't use Ignition. So you would need something that can be separated. And also, guys, and I've seen this too. I've actually had a friend of mine that was type 2 diabetic, and I stopped him from using another brand that had the protein and the carbs in the same one. Now, if he's type 2 diabetic, he would have had big problems had he started using that. But also another thing, guys, if you ship these, if you have it in the same bottle and you ship it out, all the vibration and shaking around, there's no way that you would ever get the right dosing of each one. So it really just another way that First Phorm is the best, guys, 100%, to even go into the details of separating these two products, but telling you need both of these products. So, all right, guys, I hope this has been helpful. I know I got a little bit off track, but this is my Supplement Sunday. I hope that you guys will choose First Phorm. It's the best, hands down, 110% money back at guarantee. You can't go wrong. These guys will literally, we'll do anything we can to help you get results. That's our number one goal. So, feel free. If you want free shipping, please go through my link. It's firstphorm.com/anchoredinmuscle. If you have any questions about this product, please never hesitate to reach out to me, anchoredinmuscle@gmail.com.